We all die, we all go back to spirit world, and we all have our life review. Even the bad people, they have their life review. And in Buddhism, we don't believe in hell. Um, but if you have a belief in hell, you believe that you deserve that, then you can create that for yourself, just like you can create anything else for you. Mm-hmm. But in Buddhism, every single soul pre-plan their life here, and for their own reasons and for their own spiritual growth. And they came here to do whatever purpose they came here to do. But depending on how they live it, they can either raise their level of consciousness or lower their level of consciousness, and it's completely up to them. And when they die, they go back and they have a life review, and they see, oh, I could have done that different. I would have done the same exact thing that I did now. It's completely up to them. And then whatever karma that they created, whether it's good or bad, will factor into if they choose to come back and try the life experience again, whether it's on Earth or in another reality or another planet or whatever the incarnation that they choose. They kind of like when you go to college or you go to school, they're like, okay, and you go to your guidance counselor, and they go, okay, so you want to have these classes and have these experiences. I can only put you in this experience if you met these requirements. And because you failed all your other classes and you were just a tyrant to everybody else in the class, you're not ready. So you're going to do it over again, or we can put you into kind of an alternative course
that would teach you the same lessons, but it's a little bit different or whatever.
So different, yeah.
You need these prerequisites, I think they call it in school, to be able to learn this lesson. Well, you've got to learn these first. You can't jump to
these. So, right. and so in Buddhism, it's much like that. So like, what people don't really always in the West want to hear is somebody like Hitler or Stalin or these horrific figures, is that they didn't go to hell. No. They did experience some kind of hell. In Buddhism, when you die and you have your life review, okay? When you have your life review, you have a life review from your perspective and everything you did, and you have your life review from the perspective of everybody else that you affected directly as you are them. Mm-hmm. And you have your life review from how your actions affected their descendants from their experience, and the review of how your actions affected all the generations following, all the way to eons, of how your lifetime affected their reality. So that's hell.
Oh, yeah. For somebody like Hitler or something like that. I remember in the Law of One when it came through that, like, well, Hitler needs a lot of care right now. People are like, care? Why does he need care? It's like, dude, if you had to live through each one of those people's lives you affected so adversely and feel the pain they felt, that's almost worse than just burning forever, because I mean it's more emotional, it's more personal, I don't know. He's gonna definitely experience what I mean, it's a very just system when you think of it that way.
It's a very just system. He masterminded maybe like 6 million deaths.
Oh yeah.
Okay, 6 million deaths times all the descendants times the rest of human history that was affected by what, like even you and I looking at it going, oh wow.
All right.
Just experience that.
Right.
That, oh my God.
Right. Yeah, I've thought of that. It's not only the people you killed, it's the people, the family members that were left alive to deal with the pain. He has to feel that pain, and it's very just, and it's going to take a while, I would imagine.
And so if he were to choose to come back, because in Buddhism, when you die, you come back to your certain level of consciousness, and let's say you want to ascend in the spirit world to another job, or you want to get promotion to another level, and you can't go there because you haven't met a certain criteria in your consciousness level. Mm-hmm. And so you have to go back. And so many spirit people in the spirit world, and I have a lot of regressions. I talk about the spirit world. They go back in the spirit world and they are afraid to come back, but they want to, because they want to move on in the spirit world into another, you know,
Right.
experience. So they have to come back, and they have to work with their life planner and everybody to find a way that will, through grace, address everybody's suffering that they had caused directly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really hard job for a life planner to work on these type of souls. And it could take them, because there's really no time frame, it could take them eons to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
So the person that the person that is helping you out all the time may be the person that tortured you in another lifetime.
Right.
Okay, and yeah. I've seen those souls switch roles. Like the father is constantly buying anything for his daughter, and he is sending her to Ivy League schools, giving her the best car, anything. He just all he does is work and provide for his daughter that he loves, and just wants to just be in her good graces. But in a previous lifetime, he was tormenting her, and so this is his way to make up for it. Because somehow he doesn't know why he keeps doing this, but that is the way in which they found some way to address each other's unbalance. So and there's different versions of that. I mean, it's all very unique to the client, but yeah. So that's in short, that's the Mandela effect, and there's a lot of different ways in which you can change your reality. QHHT is kind of like a cheat code, because in one session you can go through the challenges in this lifetime and in your other lifetimes that may be coming back for you to work on, and then you see exactly what your hang up is.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you get to the part where we talk to the oversoul or the subconscious, or in some people they call it God, it doesn't matter, it's the same consciousness in everybody because we're all one. Mm-hmm. Which in academic studies they've researched that there is only one consciousness and we're all connected. So that's a whole nother topic of oneness. But when you come for a session, a lot of people will get these clarity moments, and then a light bulb will go off, and then they can go home and they can work on those inner issues that are holding them back from their ascension. And it's kind of their own little awakening, so it's like a cheat code. And then they can finally make it to the other side healthy and start working on manifesting the reality that is a greater version of who they are. And that's really where everybody is working on. So it doesn't have to be QHHT. You can have your spiritual awakening and work on your ascension through Narcotics Anonymous or AA, the 12-step program. You'll have a spiritual awakening there. You can have it through a lot of other spiritual traditions around the world as well. Some religions are attempt to do this as well. And so if you have your spiritual awakening through your religion, that's fine as well. It doesn't really matter the ways in which you have your spiritual awakening. What matters is that you have it, and that you make it to the other side, and that you start working on your level of consciousness and radiating at the frequency that you intended to have before you were born, so that you can have attracted to yourself the experiences that you had planned for yourself to do from the spirit world. So, I mean, if you want to talk about the spirit world, I could answer any questions you have about that as well.
That'd be really cool, because when I'm thinking about just your spiritual growth in general, so many of us can become stagnant, and using some of these modalities is a good way to sort of keep that forward momentum going. And even though you're working for yourself or working on yourself, dealing with those inner demons and dark sides of the dark night of the soul and the hero's journey and all that good stuff, you're still keeping that momentum going, and it's helping the whole. Even if you're just working on yourself, you're helping the whole, because we're always interacting with other people, and And that can be a hang up if we're not dealing with other people properly. And then we have to go, like we were just talking about Hitler, you've got to go experience how you treated other people. But if you can like deal with it now, that's less you have to deal with in the future when you got to go and see how you treated people wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all together, it's all one, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, you could spend the next 80 or 100 years of your lifetime fighting over everybody and creating karma for yourself to deal with in multiple lifetimes down the road, or you can just stop what you're doing, find a QHHT practitioner if all the other ways that you've tried hasn't worked for you, get your cheat code, work on it, and just get to the other side, and then spend the rest of your life manifesting a greater reality for yourself. So it's up to you if you want to follow through with the life plan that you had set for yourself. And, I'm so familiar with these topics because of my Buddhist background, but one of the things that comes up very often in my practice, because a lot of the clients that come through, like I said earlier, they just want to be the best version of who they are. And so I get a lot of computer programmers, a lot of scientists, a lot of doctors, hotel owners, just different things. And they just, they maybe had some weird nuances in their life that's happened, such as some weird Mandela effect that they want to get explained. And so when they talk to the oversoul, that gets explained. But they also want to bring forth whatever metaphysical contribution they're working on in their spirit world into their lives. So if they're a doctor, they want to bring more energy healing into their life and into their practice. Like, how can I bring more energy healing in? Mm-hmm. So maybe if they have a chiropractic office, they would bring in acupuncture, mm-hmm. meditation, maybe some massage, just kind of bring the whole fold in. If they're in a regular medicine and they're working with highly stressed customers or clients, they would maybe suggest some meditation, some different ways in which they can kind of balance their energy. So these are all energy healing that's really coming into the fold. Same thing with science. If they are working on materials, they want to learn a little bit more about sacred geometry, and what they could do in QHHT is, again, it's a cheat code to the other side, is just ask them, how do I solve this problem I'm working on in my career? And it will give them the direction. It won't tell them the answers. Like, the oversoul is typically not going to tell my clients who and when and what to do or how to do it, but it'll give them suggestions like, you're spending a lot of time in this area and the answer is going to be more in this area. So it'll kind of lead them the way. Or if they're not really sure if they should start a veterinarian practice, and they'll get the session, it will tell them, yes, you're really good with animals, you love doing it, but start small until it grows. So it gives them very, very practical advice on how to, again, manifest a better, more greater reality for themselves.
Because it really is all about the experience of it, too. So you don't want to have all the answers just outright given to you, because that's part of the learning process. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly what the oversoul says over and over again. I'm not going to give you the answers because there will be no point in you existing if you don't own your own decisions.
Right.
Okay. If you don't do your own talking and you don't walk your own walk, why would I split out into you and you and you and you if you're not going to ever live your own life?
Right.
I don't learn anything about myself, right. And so that's always kind of a surreal awakening for people when they realize that you have a lot of help and they will guide you and they will nudge you. The spirit world will nudge you through synchronicity, but it's up to you to decide to walk the walk.
Absolutely.
It's up to you to decide what your character is going to be, because it's not going to do it for you.
Are you surprised to see how things seem to be accelerating? I don't know if it's just me, and now that I'm in it, it seems like it, because I'm paying more attention to it, because I'm sort of new to this 2017. I've always been in religion, but my awakening and my dark night of the soul and all that happened
What year
at the
is it
beginning.
again?
What's that?
What year is it again?
In 2017 is when I sort of
Oh, in
woke up. Yeah.
2017. Yeah, yeah. Um, you know, I mean, I had my awakening about 2011 when I've always being Laotian and being Buddhist, I'm already very familiar with these topics, but it wasn't really until a lot of Buddhist monks started to participate in academic research to get this information and prove this information is correct. Like awakening does change your reality. Ascension does change your reality. And start proving it. And now we have so much mainstream material in science and medicine in all different areas that we can continue to go on and research, the greater reality for as long as we want. But I started writing, and you can, on my website, merkabachakras.com, you can go to the blog page, and there's a wealth of information about these very ancient, metaphysic terms and topics, but proven through modern day science, math, etc. And so when you are living at a higher frequency, everything else around you also radiates at the same matching higher frequency. So the more condensed your Merkaba or your Mandela, whatever you want to call it, the more condensed it is, the more perfected it is, the more complicated it is and intricate it becomes, the more information you can hold, and also the wiser you are, the higher your level of consciousness. And as a result, it has no choice but to experience a reality that is that same frequency. So the slower, lower, dense reality is not attracted to you. It can't keep up with your level of consciousness.
Well, that really explains why so many of us in the chat, we really gravitate to one another, even because we feel that resonance. And we're like, oh, finally, people that get it, people that feel like I feel, and people that are experiencing the things I'm experiencing. And then you mentioning the orb, I wanted to go back to that because that kind of ties in with the sacred geometry or the geometric shapes that we all have. A lot of us have been seeing more and more orbs around us, like with our third eye, I guess, or out of the corner of your eye, you'll notice like an orb. People have been getting photographs of them too, more visible ones, but I've been getting a lot of them, even like sparkles and things like that in my field of vision. And I'm wondering if that's like us tapping into maybe higher levels of being the elementals and things like that you hear about.
Yeah. So, these orbs, I mean, and I've had videos of myself, like, in videos, and you'll see, I mean, there's the normal dust particles.
Right.
Dust particles don't do
Right. Right.
It doesn't do that. Okay.
Right.
Little orb just do. That's not dust particles. That's not
right.
light. Okay.
Right.
So, and there's plenty of videos of that. I've seen those videos myself. And you can take pictures of it as well. And some people, like my best friend, she got her awakening through Narcotics Anonymous. But we had taken a picture early on when we were younger, and I had all these bubble orbs around me. And she had all these bubble orbs, and she had these like straight line orbs in like 5 pictures,
right.
pictures at night. All with hers were all like this, mine were all like this. And it's basically the oversoul is basically your spirit world. It's your soul group journaling their journey. They're having a journey with you, experiencing you, learning from you, so that when they choose to incarnate, they can use that information to help them in their journey.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, so I mean, because we keep coming back to the spirit world, so let me just kind of break it down really quick. And this comes from very in line with my Buddhist background, but it comes also from my clients. So basically, in the spirit world, what a lot of really old old souls do is they go straight to the Great Library. And the Great Library is this just massive, it's always the same, like golden light that just goes straight up as high as you can see and as low as you can see. And it's just beaming. It's a very soft light, and it's just very intense. And when the souls go to this Great Library,
just like the Akashic Records, or different?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when they go to this Great Library, it's just magnificent. They're looking around, and they are like, there's always these librarians. They're like, how are you? What do you want to experience? Where do you want to go? And you're like, I don't know. And they're like, okay, we talk to your life planner. And they're like, I'm working on my this and that. And, I want to have this experience. And remember, there are plenty of souls that come through that never had an earth experience before. And they're just coming here just for the ascension and awakening, just to help out. Or they're coming here just to experience what Earth is about. They're like, what is this about? So everybody comes for different ways. But these librarians, walk around, they help people. And basically these souls in the spirit world will go through the library. And just like when you go to the library, you can have books on different topics and so forth. And they would go to, let's say they want to work on forgiveness. They want to work on letting go. And in Buddhism, the concept of forgiveness is to let go of the anger that you hold that somebody did that to you. Okay? So I can't just say, I forgive you, and then still be angry. That means that you haven't forgiven because your energy hasn't changed. You're still holding on to that anger. Like Buddha says, when you hold on to anger, the only person that's burnt is you. Because you're holding on to a hot coal. So when you finally let go of the anger that they did that to you, or maybe you get a cheat code to QHHT to see what was the reason behind that. Maybe they've had 5 generations of, molestation and the passing on, whatever the deal is. So when you let that anger go, then you raise your frequency. So let's say a soul in the spirit world, one of my clients went to the spirit world, and she was working on forgiveness, which is one of the things that she had a hard time working on. So when she was planning her life, she would go to different sections in the library that had lifetimes where people forgave great feats. And these are what in the West we call the Akashic Records. So everybody has their own audio biography that they're working on. It could be a combination of this lifetime, multiple lifetimes, whatever it is, and that they work on when they incarnate. They're putting their book into the Great Library. And so when souls go through and they go research material, they'll look over a theme, they'll open your book, and all this information about the lives you live will come through, and they will experience it firsthand, what it's like, and they'll go, okay, that was interesting. Let's read another book. Okay, that's interesting. I think I have an idea of what I want to talk to my life planner about, and explore the curriculum, explore what my next travel is going to be about. I want to have fun. I want to create new things. But I also want to work on my spiritual growth through this experience as well. And we're going to work on forgiveness, or we're going to work on just being unconditional love, or we're going to work on, whatever the topic is you're going to work on, or we're just going to work on trying to work on my purpose and, just being myself, being who I am. So they might come back like gay, or they might come back with some kind of handicap that would help raise the consciousness of people around them, whatever the thing that they plan. But this is where they get the material. So like I said earlier, Bucky Fuller's contribution about buckyballs and everybody being sacred geometry, like you have your own song inside, your voice creates a 2D that becomes a 3D mandala or platonic shape, okay? You are creating your autobiography that you put into the Great Library. So
your song is your vibration.
Your song is your vibration. Your vibration is your book. Your Merkaba, it's all the same thing. So, even in the Bible, it said God created it through sound. to a frequency. It was a frequency. You have your own frequency. You have your own name. So whatever term you want to use it. So we're all creating our own autobiography. We're putting in the great library for everybody else in all creation to reference. And so the answer is always the same that comes in my sessions. Once you have your awakening and once you start working on your ascension, the answer is, how do you want your book to read? Okay.
Yeah.
How do you want your playbook to read? Do you want it to be 100 years of just being a horrible person?
Right.
If you want to.
That's the same thing that came to me. It was like, everyone's the star of their own show. It's like, what kind of star do you want to be? Do you want to be the hero or do you want to be the villain? It's really quite that simple, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You want to be a really good supporting actress? I mean, and everybody's working on different levels too. In this lifetime, they may just want to be a supporting actress, and that's fine too. Because everybody has their roles to play, and it's not just about this lifetime. Because when you incarnate into different realities or versions of yourself, you're adding to your book, and your book becomes more dense. Your Merkaba becomes more dense. Your frequency becomes more dense and higher. That's why people who radiate at a high frequency typically are around very influential people. They are very influential themselves. And, when they show up in events, everybody's happy. Good thing the conversation never ends. 6 hours later, you're still hopping on the same conversation because, that's what these people, that's their energy. That's what they bring. In Buddhism, we call it the Tulku children. People who are of a high frequency bring it into this reality. But everybody can be a Tulku children. Everybody can be an Indigo. Once you get to a higher level of consciousness, you radiate at the same frequency.
Right. So it's like when you think of the volunteers or Starseed, some of the terms that we have of people sort of coming here to be a Jesus type figure in the modern age or a Buddha in the modern age, they're actually spreading that to other people as well. Even if that's not what they originally came to do, they're helping raise, I guess, the consensus reality, if you will.
Yeah. And, honestly, I mean, everybody who's incarnating here is working on their awakening.
Right.
Okay. In order to because Earth has her own consciousness as well, she is moving on to a higher level and of course, she's very kind, so she wants people who lives on her to also raise their level of consciousness so that they can be stewards of the planet and be good to her. So the people that she wants to create a reality with are people who are going to be the best version of them, and they're going to be the holistic doctor. They're going to be the scientist that's working on ways to recycle and provide clean energy to the earth. They're working on ways to live more organically and be more helpful to the earth. They're working on ways to address poverty and help people address poverty without causing harm to the earth. These are the type of people that she wants to create that greater reality with. And in my sessions, what happens is they are getting this information, on how to be the best version of themselves, but also how to infuse metaphysics into their work as well, because by doing that, they are also being good stewards of the earth. Because a lower dense frequency is one who's going to trash the earth and, pilgrimage it for everything they possibly can. They're not thinking long term. They don't think the earth has a consciousness. But in modern science, they've already proven the earth herself has her own song. And we can all listen to it. Go to YouTube, you can listen to the song of the earth, just like you have a song. And the earth has a book that she's putting into the Great Life. But the same thing that happens in every one of my sessions, I get the same message from all my sessions of QHHT. So I've put those messages into these sentences because it's always the same. So in short, this is the last message I want to leave your audience with that comes through from the Oversoul to all my clients. And I put it into this message. So the last message is, that the Oversoul wants everyone to know is that you've always been enough. You've always been enough. And use the gifts and the resources all around you to create the life that you want to experience. A life full of joy and love. And the spirit world will nudge you through synchronicity. And you can do it. Okay? You can do it. So that's the message that the Oversoul wants everyone who wants to radiate at a higher frequency to keep in mind.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Vine Galt. That's Vine Galt, ladies and gentlemen, and we will definitely have her back in 2020. We have more to talk about Lemuria. We have more of the spirit world. We won't run out of stuff. And plus, you're already getting stuff in your sessions all the time. So thank you so much. Lots of love and light to each and every one of you. And thanks again, Vine, for being here. All right, peace. If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.